Hello and welcome to the very first meetup of the Digital Marketing Book Club. We're talking about psychographics today. The club is of course organized by the University of Illinois. As you know, today we'll discuss the article, Psychographics are just as important for marketers as demographics. This piece was written by Alexandra and published on the Harvard Business Review. My name is Zainab Ahmed. I'm an inbound certified digital marketing strategist and copywriter working at Junior Word Art. I've also earned various certifications and am licensed in Neuro-linguistic programming. I'm very glad you could join us. It's nice to see you, Elizabeth and Rehan. I'm well. I hope you're both great too. As for the structure of this meeting, we have 30 minutes. So I'll quickly summarize the article, discuss the definition of psychographics, and answer some of the questions that have been posted in the group. After that, the floor is yours. Type a number from 1 sequentially in the chat and we'll pass the mic around in that order. Sounds good? Let's start. Let's start off with a quote from the article distinguishing between demographics and psychographics. Marketers are used to thinking and speaking in demographics, slicing the market up by age, gender, ethnicity, income, location, employment status, and other broad variables can help to understand the differences and commonalities among customers. But psychographics, which measure customers' attitudes, needs, values, activities, personalities, interests, and lifestyles, etc., rather than objective demographic criteria, can provide deeper insight that complements what we learn from demographics. Visually, we can see that the target market or population can be sliced up or classified according to different criteria. Demographics include basic objective data such as age, income, and location. Psychographics, being more subjective, deal with needs, wants, attitudes, and values, amongst others. The author then discusses the role widespread internet access has played in making psychographics significant for us. The internet has changed the relative importance of demographic and psychographics to marketers in 3 key ways. By making psychographics more actionable, by making psychographic differences more important, and by making psychographic insight easier to access. Is the author right? Let's have a quick look at the impact of the internet on consumer lifestyles. illustrate, she shares her research into technology devices marketed to families. What patterns do we see in their buying habits? Markets have traditionally defined this market by demographic characteristics such as the parents' income, education level, location, and the ages of their children. However, based on the parents' views on technology, the author identifies three distinct psychographic segments within this market: enablers, mentors, and limiters. The crucial point the author makes is that the reasons parents buy tech gadgets for their children determines their purchasing choices. This underlines the importance of understanding the why or psychographic data as opposed to just the basic demographic facts. To illustrate the values and behavior of parents in this example, let's take a closer look at these three psychographic market segments. Enablers value their children having a good time and give the children free access to technology gadgets so that they can have fun. Limiters place greater value on learning and limit their children's screen time for anything else. Mentors balance learning and fun for their children. Let's take a closer look at the three ways the internet has made psychographics data important to us as marketers. First, this information is now more actionable. As social media becomes a fact of life for consumers, information about their buying habits and the tools to study this data abound. We can now use our keywords in a smarter way to target just the right market segments. The second point the author makes is how relevant psychographic data collection has become as people congregate around shared interests online. Online tribes and communities help to consolidate psychographic profiles for us as people spend more and more time engaging with others around shared interests. Finally, a plethora of tools are now available to marketers to enable them to obtain and analyze and gain insight from psychographic information. These include customer surveys, sales and customer support staff interviews, focus groups and group interviews with customers, social listening, sentiment analysis, web analytics, virtual community engagement, and of course a whole variety of tools. We've summarized the article. What was your take on it? What do you think? Do comment below. I'll pass the mic to anyone who wants to talk. Let's just answer a few questions. Manuel, Mohammed, and Peter all asked why psychographics is more important than demographics. As so many people were asking this question in the group, we'll explore this question next before passing on the mic. Peter also asked why big companies are failing. Why do big companies fail in the 21st century where digital marketing is the gateway to cross borders and increase brand image and growth? That's a very good question, Peter. In terms of our current topic, there are two answers. Number one, the playing field is now more even thanks to social media. So smaller companies can compete and take market share from the bigger companies. The second answer could also have to do with the fact that bigger companies have many processes and systems in place. Peter? And finally, we have a question from Elizabeth, who had a lot of questions. And your main question is, how can I determine the best return on investment for our marketing dollars, considering there are so many tools to use? And we're going to answer this one as well. First, let's define psychographics. What is psychographics segmentation? Analysis of consumer lifestyles to create a detailed customer profile or buyer persona according to the Business Dictionary. Wikipedia states that it is the study and classification of people according to their attitude, aspirations, and other psychological criteria, especially in market research. In other words, for a given consumer segment, we'll study their activities, behaviors, interests and hobbies, opinions and attitudes, values, beliefs, and lifestyle and habits. These are also termed as AIO. The term psychographics has been around since the 1960s, as you can see from the graph. And as we've learned earlier, the rise of the internet has coincided with the rise of psychographic segments. So the first question was, which intel is most important for us as marketers? Demographics or psychographics data, and why? Let's study exactly how these two market segmentation approaches view our target market. Demographics look at who the lead is, whereas psychographics looks at why they do what they do. Demographics are objective facts about the consumer, such as age, gender, income level, location, employment, and so on. Whereas psychographics, on the other hand, are subjective and expressed by the customer, such as beliefs about the environment or animal rights, attitudes towards conventional schooling, and so on. So demographics will be measurable and quantitative, or as Kevin Hartman taught us in analytics, more likely to be structured data. Yet psychographics data is qualitative and fuzzy. In web analytics terms, this data is probably going to be unstructured. And it's important to note, unstructured data usually comprises 80% of the data that a web analyst works with. Psychographics requires digging deeper and are relatively harder to obtain than demographics. Psychographics would be a description of the culture of the target market, whereas demographics would be population statistics, is one way of looking at it. Important, we need to know that most purchases are made for emotional reasons. Only 30% of the time do we buy stuff for rational purposes. Remember ice cream or iPads? Anyone? So what does this actually mean? This basically answers the question, which is most important for marketers, demographics or psychographics? The answer is both. Market research and segmentation approaches complement each other to create a complete buyer persona or customer profile. We had the traditional approach of identifying our prospects based on geodemographics or based on occupation. One could further classify prospects according to industry, seniority, and role using firmographics. To quantify brand loyalty, we could use behavioristic data to measure the usage of our products and customer loyalty. As we've learned, we can approach our market in terms of their activities, interests, and opinions using psychographics. A relatively recent phenomenon is to create a social graph to identify our most loyal customers and engage with them directly to get feedback, as well as to involve them in influencing their peers. We can also use segmentation models such as Minerva, the 4Cs, VALS, Prism, Acorn, and STP to manage and analyze our data. Another way of visualizing the relationship between demographics and psychographics is shown here. So, it's all about classifying people for marketing objectives. Now we come to Elizabeth's question. She had a really good question here. And what does all this mean for the return on investment in marketing? Let's have a look at what some of the more influential marketers have to say. Neil Patel tells us, build a deep understanding of your customer or risk irrelevance. Jeremy Smith tells us, psychographics is the greatest thing that ever happened to marketing in general and conversion optimization in particular. HubSpot makes it clear. You can only effectively target audiences when you understand both their demographics and psychographics. The combination of both sets of data starts to form your buyer persona. And Mashable has it for marketers. Marketing is all about knowing your customers and the best way to respond to them. That's why marketers love data. In conclusion, to market effectively, marketers need to know their consumers deeply. Businesses that succeed are those that know their customer best. Big companies that are not timely and responsive to their buyers are at risk. This was Peter's question, right? The most cost-effective way to maximize marketing dollars is to make data acquisition an integral part of the business process. And as we saw earlier, we can gain insight by using customer surveys, feedback from client-facing employees, those in sales and customer support, social media engagement, listening, sentiment analysis, engagement in virtual communities, holding focus groups and interviews, using web analytics and other digital marketing tools which abound. We can also extend our CRM fields to collect data on a systematic basis. Well, that's it from me. Let's discuss. Thank you for listening. Now it's your turn. If you'd like to comment or ask a question, please type in the chat box. Thank you for attending. What are your favorite market research tools for psychographics? Do comment below. This wraps up our first digital marketing book club meeting on psychographics, arranged by the University of Illinois and presented by Zainab Ahmed. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to your comments.